Hey there. Welcome back to the Golfweek Amateur Tour of the podcast. Chris, should we tell people how to join the tour?
Of course. Whether you're a seasoned member or just tuning in to learn more, we're here to help you dive into the ins and outs of the tour. If you've been on the fence about joining, there's no better time than now. It's a fantastic way to play competitive golf, meet other passionate golfers, and step up your game.
Registration is open. All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net. Click Join the Tour button and pay your local tour's membership dues.
And if you want to keep up with all things Golfweek Amateur Tour, make sure you're subscribed and listening to the podcast on your favorite platform. Don't forget to download each episode, share it with your golf buddies, and if you're enjoying the show, drop us a like and a review. Your feedback helps us grow the community and reach more golfers just like you. Thanks for tuning in. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of the podcast. As you can tell if you're watching or listening, usually I don't give the intro for the podcast, but Tim's not able to join us this episode, so I was asked to pick a special co-host for this event, and there are so many choices that I was able to pick from, but I knew, that every year it seems like at the beginning of the year, I do an episode by myself, and every year I ask my good friend to join in this episode. So when I had to get a full co-host for the full 45 minutes to an hour you're going to listen to us, I knew exactly who to pick. So we're going to bring him in right now, especially if you're watching, but he's a great director, Director of the Year, top contributor to the V Foundation year after year, one of the bigger regionals that we have year after year, and my dear friend who has guided me through becoming a director. So definitely want to bring him on. We're going to go ahead and do that right now. There he is. Mr. Gabe Garcia, Arizona director. Gabe, welcome to the show.
Chris, how are you doing, my friend? I'm doing fantastic.
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming on, being a co-host with me. We have a great episode. We're going to bring on another director to talk about his season coming up. And then we've got a return of the rules with Rogers Rules, which people have been excited to hear from. Right. I can't believe people are excited to hear about the rules of golf, but they're asking for it.
Hey, man, anything that you can, any information you can get to get an advantage out on the course, I think anybody that is looking for that opportunity, so more the better.
True. We've talked before how, rules can be an advantage as well as sometimes a disadvantage, especially if somebody knows it and you don't know, and it blindsides you.
Yeah.
We need to check to see if there's a rule on lights on the carts so I can penalize you all next time. But that's a story for another day.
I think it's a story that needs to be told, though.
It'll be told. It's always told. Trust me.
I believe.
But let's get this episode started. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Golfweek Amateur Tour proudly presents Golfweek Amateur Tour, the podcast, talking about all things Golfweek Amateur Tour, including interviews with tour directors, players, and course professionals. Now here are your hosts, Tim Newman and El Paso Las Cruces Tour Director, Chris Rocha.
All right, Gabe, so this is going to be your first guest as the co-host. I hope you're excited. And, like we mentioned before, we're trying to get all these new directors. We have a lot, actually. I don't know if you're aware of how many we have.
Yeah, a lot of new ones come in both tours, for sure.
Yeah, there is quite a bit. So we kind of want to put a face and a voice, in case they're not watching the video format, to who their tour director is going to be.
Absolutely.
So without further ado, we have, there he is, Vic Werner, the new director of the senior Arkansas Tour. Sir, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Good to be
Morning, Vic.
here. Morning, Gabe, Chris.
Happy New Year. Well, appreciate you taking some time. Unfortunately, Tim couldn't be with us, but my mentor, Mr. Gabe Garcia, is here as my co-host. But
Don't hold that against him, Vic.
Vic, we just really want to get to know you. Congratulations. Welcome to the group of directors. I would
Thank
say
you.
elite group, but there's some that would say otherwise. But welcome. Like we have a lot of listeners, especially in your area, and let them know to tell them who Mr. Vic is and who's taken over their tour.
Well, I've been playing on the regular tour on the I don't even know what you call, I guess the Golfweek tour since 2013. It started here in Arkansas in 2012. I started in 2013. Started in the C flight, trying to stay in the C flight, but been playing badly, moving down to the D flight. But anyway, started out, got to know Jerry Homishak, the tour director there, and became his assistant in my second year, helping him out. And then 2 years ago, we decided to start the senior tour. And at first, Jerry was running that when I was still his assistant. But as I was telling Gabe pre-show, I said he had a couple of new grandkids. He had two, his only two. They're twin girls, and he just has to spend a lot of time. We originally, started doing the tournaments on the same weekend as the regular tour, just on a Monday usually.
Okay.
A lot of people couldn't come, and partly it was because he couldn't be gone 4 weekends out of the year.
Sure.
My wife is helping me this year, so we're still together on the weekends doing Golfweek stuff.
Nice.
Hey, and you bring that up, but we've talked about it before, me and Tim. When the spouses are involved, whether it's on event day or the leading up to event day, it makes it it's better. It's a better experience for us as directors because we know that we have that support.
Right.
I know, like for instance, Gabe at TPC, his whole clan helps him. I mean, he's got 8 people that help him. My wife, she may not be at the events, but leading up to it, she's helped me cut scorecards and cart signs and making sure everything's packed, ready to go.
Right.
So it's always a good help to have them around to help us out.
So, Vic, with
Yeah.
having been, I guess, the assistant for Jerry for a while, how do you think that's going to help you as you get started with taking over the tour yourself?
Well, it helps me learn how the tournaments run and how
Sure.
we run them, and so that's definitely been a help. It's also helped because I get to know all the guys and the ladies. We have some ladies in there too, but I get to know everybody. They get to know me. Some of them know me better than they know Jerry. But some of it depends too, because Jerry's been an AB flighter, so he got to know the higher flights, and I tended to know the CD folks a little bit better. But I've really gotten to know everybody pretty much. So that's been helpful to help him and get to know people. Like I said earlier, I look after the website, the content, so I get to see people's names anytime. After the tournaments, I take the pictures. We do a slideshow of winners on our website, so I put the slideshow together. Tournament day doesn't end with the tournament. I'm usually working, especially with two, having to put two slideshows. That got exciting.
Yeah, we all know that one. Everybody thinks as
Yeah.
soon as the
Yeah.
as soon as the scoring is complete, that everybody's day is just done and over with, and go home and relax, and that's not necessarily
Nope.
the case.
Nope.
So are you still helping him with the Golfweek one as well?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That was one of his requirements for getting rid of is that I continue to help him with that again, because I'm the more of the, even though my degree, my day job is not in technology. I love technology, and I've always so I'm basically his tech helper, or anything technological. I'm there for that.
Do you have a lot of crossover between the two tours? A lot of guys plan both.
We do. We have a fair amount. I was thinking about this the other day. I think I need to check and see who who is crossing over still. We have a few that have just decided to focus on the senior,
Hmm.
but then we still do have some crossover. So I'm not sure. I haven't gone in to see how many people. Right now, we're running about neck and neck on new memberships.
That's great.
Uh, he's a couple ahead of me. We kind of joke around about who's ahead of who. But
We
last year we had on the senior tour for our second year we had 93, I think, and he had 150 or so, maybe more. I don't know the exact number, but he had quite a few. Uh, and again, as you know, with some people start, they play a few tournaments, and you don't see them again. But
Sure.
right.
but
I mean,
but
93 is still a good number.
yeah,
Solid. Yeah,
so I'm
for
hoping
sure.
to hit that 100 mark before the. I got to go to the directors meeting in Hilton Head as a new director, so see all those little awards they give out, and
Sure.
so it's kind of cool to watch that.
Always a good
Yeah,
time.
it is always a good time.
Yeah.
So your season starts, from what I'm looking here, starts in March.
Yeah.
Kind of mid-end March. Any courses on there that are like, hey, you do not want to miss this event. Don't, whether it's a major or a single day, this is one of the one or two that you do not want to miss for any reason.
Well, for us, we have the advantage. We have the uh, Hot Springs Village, which is a retirement community. It has 8 golf courses there, and they're all in great shape. Uh, Always, we have people come from other tours that say we come up to play some of your events because this is the nicest course we play all year. Some of our folks have even said that depending on what course they played in Hilton Head, the village courses are just as nice as those.
Very
Wow.
cool.
So anything in the village is a don't miss. So we start out in the village. Our season opener. It's a 2-day event. Originally started as a 1-day event, but because of some scheduling issues, it ended up being a 2-day event to start out. But the other course probably on the schedule is Diamante. Nobody in this area wants to miss Diamante. Diamante is in the village, but it's a private course, and it's always in great shape. Uh, just a gorgeous course. So really want to be Diamante. Right now, I'm kind of trying to connect with. I've got one date to fill, a Monday. Well, it could be a Saturday, but trying to get a Monday private club, and we were scheduled to play there on Eclipse Day. So it got canceled because of eclipse. Not that the eclipse lasts a long time, but it got canceled. That, and partly because that particular course was getting ready to host the Simmons Bank Championship for the Champions Tour of the PGA. They have a contract
wow.
for the next 5 years. And so we're hoping to get back. I'd love to be able to get on there again with, like I said, we were scheduled, but me and the head pro are having a hard time connecting. Don't know if he even has that date available, but that would be, yeah. And that course, I volunteered at the tournament. It's just in gorgeous shape. I've played it before, but it was just in absolute gorgeous shape for the pros.
Just let them know that the only fee that you charge for volunteering is that they allow you to host a single day event there. Should
That's
get
right.
you in without
There
any
you go.
problems, right?
Got it.
Yeah, that's a good try. But no, I mean, I'm looking at it. That is pretty cool to have just one village with all these courses that you can really knock out half your schedule in.
Yeah, and I don't
In
have
one
as many
location.
on my schedule as Jerry has on his this
Right.
year. Because I grabbed a couple of newer courses that we hadn't played before. There's one River Oak up in Searcy, which is a new course for us. We have the advantage in the senior tour is we can pick some courses that have shorter yardages that they
Right.
can't do on the golf week. Around here, we call that the open tour. But
Right.
so,
Are you and Jerry working together to kind of coordinate the schedule so the guys that do crossover have the opportunity to play as much as possible?
yeah, we do. A couple of weekends, we decided if it was the same course, we would do a Saturday, Sunday event. He'd do the Saturday, I'd do the Sunday. So that might give us another weekend off
For sure.
in that month rather than being alternate. But yeah, we've tried pretty much to do alternate weekends on
Great.
most months. Uh, so it's worked out okay. It's like early in the season, he set his dates kind of he has seniority. He set his dates first, and I kind of went in between those dates.
Gotcha.
But yeah, worked out pretty good. We get along well, and and he's always been good to teach me the ropes, but also takes good care of me.
Good.
Right. And your events are usually Mondays or Saturdays for the
They
most
are
part.
now I think we have the only time we do a Monday event now is if it's a private club, and that's the only time they're open. So I think I have three, maybe four. If I get Pleasant Valley, I think might be four. But a lot of the rest are Saturday, or if it's a 2-day, usually a Saturday, Sunday.
Good.
I do have to ask, I keep looking at it, that trophy behind you. I know you put it there
Oh,
for a reason.
yeah, that was 2015. No, remember what it was here. Yeah, sea flight winner.
All
There you
right.
go.
2015, Isabella, one of the tour finals, I think. So,
Very cool. Bragging rights is always a good thing, huh, Chris?
yeah.
Yes.
I bring them here to the office. I mean, if you looked out the other side of my office, I've got anything I've won, which hasn't, well, actually, I was gonna say hasn't been in a while, but I did go to Nashville last year in the D flight in the seniors and won Nashville by
Very nice.
scoring much lower than I've ever scored. Sandbagger.
Well, let me ask you this then,
Yeah.
because you are a player as well. Are you planning on being the few director players, or are you just going to be director for this first year and kind of see how it goes?
Oh, I'm gonna do my best to play.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works. Biggest problem is if we're at a course where we can't do a shotgun.
Oh, sure.
Hmm.
That the shotgun, it's not a problem really playing because they just all go out at the same time. But when in the village this year has kind of changed some of their rules where you have to have like 84 players to do a shotgun.
Yeah,
Without that, you're going to do tee times, which first of all makes for a long day for us.
for sure.
But
Yes.
otherwise, so probably what I'll do is because my wife will be there checking people in, so I will probably go out in the first couple of groups, so
Right.
that way I get back. So as people are coming in,
Right.
because before how Jerry and I would do it is he would go out in one of the first groups, I would get everybody checked in, and then I'd go out. I'm usually in the C flight. Unless I suck, then I'm down to do what I want. The D flighters don't suck; they're just different. But so I would go out at the end then. So as the groups would
Right.
come in, he would just give them
Right.
their trophies and take pictures and so it'll be a little different with my wife being there. But she's helped us before on the regular tour,
Yeah.
check people in, so she knows how to do it, and she's pretty efficient too. Probably more efficient than I am.
So, as a new director, do you have any goals that you're trying to, achieve in this first season? You mentioned the 100 members, and obviously that's a goal that we all shoot for at very least every year. But any other things that you're trying to accomplish this year?
I'm just trying to figure out ways, and that's why I like to talk to other directors too, is ways to make the tournaments fun that day. Any ideas that people have that can just, little extra things. Might try and throw in a few uh, drawings for something,
Yeah.
especially at the season opener. I mean, right now we're offering anybody who signed up for that early bird. We're going to do a drawing for a free registration for the season opener.
Right.
But hopefully, I'll have a few, extra funds to maybe buy a putter or something like that. Either raffle off or just have, hey, if you're here, you sign up, your name's in the drawing.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, that always draws a lot of people, especially, our major events is when we have something big to give away.
yeah.
Or even if the
I'd
course,
really, I'd
sometimes the
really
course will
like to have, I
surprise
mean,
you.
I'd like to have at least, 50 people per tournament, every tournament. Really would like to have more. But last year we averaged about 50. Sometimes we're a little lower in the senior.
Right.
So,
Well,
uh,
with all of the directors out there, you've got a lot of resources for new ideas and different things like that. So,
Facts. So last chance, before we let you go for the day. If you could just throw it out there, how you would recruit a player or whatnot. What would you say to everybody who is obviously 50 and over that can join the senior tour to come and either visit your tour or even become a member?
Well, I think for me, the first of all, it's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of great people. You meet people all across. When you go to nationals, you meet a lot of people. So I think it's a great way to improve your golf. If you really want to get better at golf, if you're just happy with being the weekend golfer, and then it's fine. But if you really want to get better at golf, joining the senior tour, or if anybody's listening to this who's younger, the regular tour, joining either one is a great way to get better, because we play them down, we put them out, we play the rules. But the other thing, some people get a little nervous when they hear that we play the rules. And so just a big emphasis to anybody listening is that we play the rules, but we're a fun group too.
For
Right.
sure.
But that's how you get better, I think, is when you as my brother and I always say, a golf hole is not finished until the ball is in the hole,
Correct.
unless you're a triple
Yeah.
bogey.
And you'll get those new members that come in and say, "Oh, I always pick up we always pick up for gimmies." It's like, well, no, not today. You're not.
Not today, you don't. Yeah, I remember one tournament. One guy he was new, and he was. I think he was his tap in would have been for a 6, and so he scoops it up and he says 6, and I'm going 7.
Yeah.
He laughed. I mean, he knew what he did as soon as he did it. But
Right.
Right.
so,
Those are the fun times because, like you said, we do follow the rules, but it is fun, and I think a lot of us know how to joke around with.
oh yeah,
Unfortunately, it is a penalty or things like a drop, the way they dropped it, or
right.
can I take out this bush,
Mhm.
things like that. I mean, me and Gabe deal with bushes over here in the desert. I don't know about
Yeah.
you all, but
But it's especially at the beginning of the season, it's a learning experience. So
Sure.
I agree. Getting into competitive golf is a great way to improve your game, but also learn the game. So
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we welcome everybody. Come on, give it a try. It's just a lot of fun.
yeah. Well, Vic, again, thank you for joining. Can't wait to see you at the directors meeting and see that over 100 club for you.
Yes.
You're neck and neck with the Golf Week tour. I was just looking at it right now, so
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to be rooting for you to get to 100 before them.
absolutely.
Maybe you run that same contest that me and Gabe are running. The first tour to 100 raffles off an entry fee somewhere.
What did you raffle? What do you raffle off?
So
So-
Chris and I run a dual tour major championship down in a place called Tubac, which is where they filmed some of Tin Cup.
Mhm.
So we've got a challenge going at the first tour to 100. The other director covers an entry fee for that event.
Okay.
So, but
So
Vic, good luck.
it-
Good luck to you this season.
All
Yeah,
right.
likewise.
Great talking to both
Have a
of
good
you.
one.
Let's take a break from the show to hear about Strixon's ZX Mark II drivers.
ZX Mark II drivers are for major players, major winners, major power. All new ZX Mark II drivers, only from Strixon.
Gabe, so first off, I almost called you Tim, but we I don't know if you've been paying attention, but we've kind of been having all the new directors on our podcast lately, and I just think it's pretty cool. I mean, you started off as one of the fresh new directors in town and really had no one close to go to, and then when I started, I had you to kind of lean on, and as I got through it, I had other new directors lean on me, and I think it's awesome to just have these guys on here and ladies to just talk about themselves, and people that are listening get to know them.
Yeah, one of the things that's been critical, I think, to our growth is the fact that directors are able to lean on one another.
Right.
Recently with the guys in Vegas and a bunch of new guys that have come on in the last handful of years, it's a great base of guys to work off of, and so to be able to have guys to reach out to is definitely critical.
Yeah, and I mean, you're about to have two new guys over there in Arizona, and I mean, they got you in their back pocket, but I bet you they feel as comfortable as ever to know they have Vegas up there and they have El Paso. Even though we're rivals, They have them right around the corner.
Absolutely. Definitely.
So let's move on. As we're starting the new season, you're started your tour. I'm starting mine pretty soon. I think Dallas is starting pretty soon as well. Vegas already started. California started like January 1st. It seemed like.
Yeah.
You know, one of the guests that we have on throughout the year, he's always been on here, but I know you know Roger's rules, and
Smith.
he's been a great asset to the podcast and the tour itself. So let's go ahead and bring in Roger real quick. Let me see if I can figure this out. Roger, you there?
I am here.
There you
Well,
are, Roger. Welcome back. Welcome back, 2025.
glad to
Thank
be
you.
here. Happy New Year to everybody and all the listeners out there.
Likewise, at Nationals, I got a bunch of praise for having you on. That you help so many golfers learn the rules that they might not even know, and even some of those special rules that we can take advantage of every once in a while. So just wanted to give you that heads up. But how you been? What's new for 2025 rules wise? What do you got for us?
I've been good. Haven't played a whole lot of golf. It's been pretty chilly on the East Coast here, but I did get out on Sunday. But anyhow, so the rules only get revised actually every 4 years, and we all know back in 2019 was the huge rules change when everything changed, and then there were a few back in 2023, and really for this year. There's not any real rules changes, but there are a few things that are clarified, and there are a couple of things that changed. But really, whether we'll see these on our tour or not, it could be very rare. So there are three really in general, and I got them here. There's when you damage your club during regular play and it's not abuse, you are allowed to use the club as it is, or you can try to repair it or replace it. Well, there's a local rule that's really only used at the high levels, and this is one that we probably won't see, but it's whether it's significantly damaged or not, whether it's really done on the pro tours, whether they can replace that club or not. And what happened last year, I don't know if you all heard about this, Matt Fitzpatrick, he had a crack in his club face.
Yep,
Yeah.
correct.
And he was not allowed to replace it at the time, but they changed that rule now. So they figure a crack in the club, and it was just a slight crack, but they figured that's significant, and now they can replace that club. So that's one of them. But
Yeah, I remember that one. They took like 30 minutes just to get a rules official to figure that one out.
oh yeah. So, but that's a local rule, and a lot of times when I've always prefaced my thing that we don't use, when I talk about the rules, I'm assuming there's no local rule in place. So that's probably
Right.
one. Yeah. Then another one is about these putters that are self-standing putters. You cannot use the self-standing putters to align or show the line of play for the hole. Whether I've only seen one guy use one of those so far, but that's another thing they put in for this year, and it's really not a rule. It's just a clarification of what you're allowed to do with that club. Okay.
So would that be putting the self-standing club in position and then kind of walking around it to make sure that it's lined up just the way you want it to be?
Exactly. Yeah. Just like
Gotcha.
that. Yeah. Line it. Yep. Yep. And then
That still won't help me, Gabe. Though. That still won't help me.
Have you worked on your putting this?
I have, but I don't think self-standing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it still needs a miracle.
Right. And then there are a few more. The other one is, when is a scorecard? Again, this is a lot of times it has to do with the pros. When is a scorecard considered returned? And sometimes players may make a mistake. They're still right by where they sign the cards and all that, and maybe within once they leave that area, it used to be once they leave that area, they can't do anything about it. But now there's a new rule where I think it's 15 minutes. They're allowed to still somebody notices a change. This came up with, there's electronic scorecards. People could see that things
Right.
maybe he did something wrong. So they're allowed to correct it. It's just, it made more sense. Just looked like a common thing. So
That was a big thing at an amateur event earlier this year, was it not?
I think it was. Yeah, that's something. And I know it happened on Pro Tour too. Yeah. So
Yeah.
That's crazy.
those there's also a few other little ones, but I won't even get into those. So those are the three major ones, though. And again, even those being the major ones, they're really not rules changes. They're just clarifications of what can and can't be done.
Right.
And I just want to say, like, so that, this first podcast of the year, hopefully we'll get a bunch of new people listening to this. And this is going to might sound silly, but for new golfers, what they need to know about our tour is we play by the rules.
Yes.
Like, and it might sound so like obvious, but you swing and you miss. It's such an easy one. We're going to count that, and I've seen it happen. You don't tap in your putt, or you just tap it in and it doesn't go in. You pick it. Well, you have to tap it. You have to finish the hole out.
Yeah.
Just obvious stuff like that is what I think new golfers need to know, that our tour plays by the rules, except, the triple bogey rule, except for the champion light. So it's just good to know. And I think the new golfers, they need to download, or everybody really needs to download the USGA app, just so that they have it. So for reference, it's the easiest way to get the rules and easiest way to look something up.
Yeah, I was about to ask you for a simple resource, but that's the perfect one for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, whether you're a new member or not, don't be afraid to ask your playing partners if you have a ruling, and if you four don't know the answer, there's always that 2-ball rule that I'm pretty sure most tours across the country play. So play the 2 balls and figure it out at the end. I always say 90% of the time you're going to end up with the same score anyways, so it really won't matter. But I am disappointed that if your ball's in a divot in the fairway, you don't get to roll it up, because there's some courses, man. It's it's like a landmine out there, a landmine field. You're gonna land in divots at left and right. But
I
mean, with like I said, with us playing, we're starting to play now. We do run into a lot of winter golf. And with winter golf, I know I do it. Gabe's done it a couple times.
For sure.
We do lift, clean, place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it is a course where there are a bunch of divots and it's just the grass isn't growing as quick as it would. I would hope me and Gabe would know how to explain lift, clean, place, but give us your interpretation on that. Sometimes it's a club lane, sometimes it's a scorecard.
That was the big thing. So I was going to say, like, for new player, always be sure to listen to the announcements before the tournament start. I know our tour director, Lyle, but people in the back, they're not listening. And what happens is just exactly what you're saying. He might say it's a scorecard length, or he might say it's a club length. And people are like, well, what? They get out to the course and they don't know. And they got to call. They actually call. They'll call me, because they got my cell, or they'll call Lyle, or they'll, ask the group behind them. So, so for lift, clean, in place, first of all, it has to be announced. That has to be in place. It's not, it's not just because you're out there and it's raining or it's bad conditions. What we've done on our tour a lot of times is, if it's cart path only, then Lyle calls it lift, clean, in place. That's often what it is. Just because the only reason it's cart path only is because the conditions are bad, but not always, but sometimes it's even more than that.
Makes sense.
So you lift, clean, in place. And then also, with regard to whether it's a club length or a scorecard or what it is, what area of the course are you allowed to do it in? There, you can impose a local rule that it's only cut to fairway height or less, or you could do it in the general area, which means like through the green, like whether it's in the rough, it's in the short grass, it's in we won't talk about bunkers, but anywhere can you lift, clean, in place. And basically you should mark your ball, but it's not required that you mark your ball. But in order to get that scorecard length or one club length, it's probably a great idea to mark the ball, lift it, clean it however you like, and then you would place the ball within one club length or one scorecard. And it's up to the tour director whether they want to use, and it doesn't have to be a scorecard or a club length. It could be whatever. He could say 1 foot or whatever it is, but scorecard is an easy way to do it. Yeah.
Right. And you, just to clarify, you said place, not drop.
Right.
No one hand behind the back type of thing. Like you can
Right.
place it. Um, I
Yeah.
mean, the reason I bring it up because I get these questions, and like you
yeah.
said, and I'm pretty sure Gabe can attest to this. We do the rules, we do the best job we can to announce it as loud as we can, and the second we get to that first tee box, especially us playing directors, you get that text message, "Hey, we doing live clean
There's
place?" It's like,
phone calls for sure.
Right.
really?
Yep. Definitely. Yep.
Uh,
Beginning of the season, there's so many questions like that. Yep.
Yeah, Roger, you hit on something a little bit earlier that I think across the tour is something that we should really encourage, particularly at the beginning of the season, and that is to be comfortable enough to ask your playing partners for information if you're not sure about a particular ruling, a drop or relief or whatever it may be. A lot of these guys have played for a handful or several years and have a pretty good understanding. But then, like Chris mentioned, there is that two ball rule if you guys can't come to an agreement. But the idea is not just to create a really nice competitive environment to play golf, but to also learn the game and be able to, glean off of the guys that are around you because you can learn from anybody.
For sure. Yes. Yeah. That's definitely, and you can't feel like, if somebody says something, don't feel like they're trying to get at you or something. They're just trying to teach you something, or
Right.
maybe help you out, even give you something that might help out your game.
Exactly.
Not
Right,
advice. I'm not talking about advice, but
Right.
yeah, the right way to proceed. Yeah.
But yeah, there are some rulings or relief options that are actually a benefit that if they're trying to help you out with that, it'd be pretty wise to listen.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was going to mention, like, knowing the definitions is, as a new golfer or new to the tour, is very important too. The definitions of things like what is a penalty area, and what does that mean, and how does that
Right.
affect you? What is ground under repair? These type of things, and because what you can do, and you may get free relief versus not free relief. You may get penalized one stroke versus two, and knowing the definitions and the rules of golf are really, I would say, for a golfer that gets the USGA app, they can go through all the rules, but the first thing they should do is just go through the definitions to learn what things mean within the rules. Yeah.
For sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I mean, if we do bring up the play two balls, regardless, mark your golf ball and make it clear so people know. And then if you are going to play two balls, make sure that they have different marks as well or different numbers or something, so you don't have that confusion. If you hit your ball and then you hit a provisional ball and you're like, oh wait, they both were number two.
For
Well,
sure.
which one's which? We got to go with the provisional ball.
Yeah.
We see it happen all the time, and as directors, that's not the fun part to have to give them that information.
Definitely
Right.
not. Absolutely.
So, Chris, you had asked me like a definition about these playing conditions in the beginning of the year, wet and soft, about embedded ball. Yep. So an embedded ball is when the portion of the ball is below the ground of the surface of the ground, and whether that ball is, sometimes you can look at a ball and you can just tell that it's embedded. Other
Right.
times, you are allowed to lift and move, check out to see if that ball is embedded. So once you determine if it is embedded, what is the procedure? So the procedure is you find the place directly behind where it's embedded, and then you're allowed a 1 club length drop from that spot. So embedded balls happen a lot in the spring in this bad weather
Yeah.
that we're having. So that is the embedded ball procedure. You find the spot right behind it, and then you get 1 club length relief from that spot, and you drop the ball. You don't place it, and you can clean the ball as well. Yeah.
Okay. With
Yep.
that, does it have to be the complete ball, half the ball, breaks the
So
surface?
any part of the ball that breaks what they call and it's really nice. Like I said, that the app, it shows you 3 different pictures. One with the ball just sitting on top of the grass.
Right.
One with it just breaking the plane of the ground, let's say the dirt, and then one with it totally embedded. And
Yep.
they show you how that is. So just at any part of that ball, doesn't have to be more than half. Like some are like, is it just touching the out of bounds stake or just touching the penalty area stake? This one, as long as any part of it is below the surface, it's considered embedded. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
No, let me give you this situation because it's actually happened to me, and I was pretty shocked. So hit the drive, right? We think we know where it went. We go and look, and sure enough, we can't find it. So in the area that we think I went, drop a ball, lost ball, all that good stuff. And we drive a little bit forward, and we see the ball embedded. It was like 3/4 embedded in there. How do you feel that could have been different if that is the case? Could we have said that was a provisional ball until we get to where we, where we're out of range of where it could be? What are your thoughts on that?
So did you say you dropped a ball because you didn't find it and it was embedded?
Correct. We dropped the ball because we couldn't find it, so we took the stroke and distance. And then as we drove up forward a little bit more, we found the ball embedded after I already hit that penalty.
If you'd already put the other ball in play,
right.
Sorry, there's nothing you can do at that point. Now, if you had done something, hadn't played that ball, and your 3 minutes wasn't up, it has to do with the timing and whether you had put that other ball in play or not.
Okay.
And yeah, that's a tough one because it reminds me of, you put another ball in play, maybe because it was in a penalty area. You drive up and you find your ball 2 minutes later. I mean, within that ball, that's a tough one. That your ball is now out of play. The original ball is out of play, and you have to play the one you dropped because you've already put it in play. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's that hard pill you have to swallow at the end of the day. But I was just curious since we're talking about it, and it might happen out there. And you drive up and you're like, no, I found my ball here. It's halfway in the dirt.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah. Another one I was thinking about for this time of year, and actually I played on Sunday, and here in Virginia Beach, it was 40 and sunny, and in the sun it felt great. I didn't even have a coat on; I had a turtleneck on. But where the trees there was still some snow. We had some snow here about a week ago, but on Sunday you could play golf, and the course was actually pretty busy. But snow and ice, what are they considered? So we're playing our first Tidewater Tour event on February 8th up in Williamsburg, and there could be some snow or ice on the course. And if that's the case, you can treat snow and ice as temporary water, and you get free relief from that area. So out here on the east, that's abnormal course condition. That's what that's called. And if your ball ends up there, you're allowed to treat that as temporary water and get free relief on the closest spot, no closer to the hole, of course. So,
Roger, I got a question. This is one that does happen kind of often, and I've heard 11,000 different ways of interpreting it. So hopefully this won't take too much time. I think it's pretty cut and dry, but it's a pretty common thing. Right around the edges of the green, when you're just on the fringe, if you're right behind a sprinkler head, and your play would be your preferred play would be to putt the ball, but the sprinkler heads are in the way. Do you get relief from that?
So there's a local rule: the ball and the sprinkler head have to be within 2 club lengths. 2 club lengths. If the local rule is in play, then you get relief. If not, you just have to play it as it lies. Yep.
Gotcha. And I heard and understood the 2 club lengths, and I wanted to make sure that was correct.
Yep. And both the sprinkler head and the ball have to be within that 2 club lengths. Yep.
Gotcha.
So, yep. Because you let's say the sprinkler head is within, it's a yard off the green, but your ball is 4 yards back.
Right.
And then that wouldn't count. Wouldn't be able to apply it, but both of them. And they do. The tournament this past weekend on tour, I saw that happen, and a guy got free relief, because they do employ that rule on tour. Yep.
So that would be something that we would have to put into play.
Yeah, I don't know in our tour manual if that's in there or not. So
I don't think it is, but
I don't think. Yeah.
I'll make note.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll make note and send it to the uppers.
Gabe, it's funny you say that, because it comes up a lot for us too. Yes, guys think, oh, they automatically get relief, but more so, it's when just on the line of play, like the 4-yard thing that I was talking about, they think, oh,
Right.
that sprinkler head's in my. It's like, sorry, that's not the
Yeah,
case.
you're right.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. Work on the
That's it.
chipping game. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Jeez.
yeah.
Yeah, that Texas wedge sometimes comes in handy over here.
Right, right. So,
Roger, any last things that you might think you want to bring up, or any tips for our new members? I know, me personally, I've had a lot of new members come up thanks to our challenge that me and Arizona have, which is awesome. But also, we have to remind them, hey, we're not your Sunday group that comes out and plays.
Right.
We play everything to the T, minus the triple bogey max rule. So anything that you can think of that might help out.
yeah, just that. Don't think of, and I've said this before. Don't think of the rules as to penalize you. Try to think of the rules like Gabe had mentioned too. There are a lot of things that the rules can do to help you out too. So learning the rules can help you as well as. And I'll give you an example. The whole back on the line relief. A lot of people think like with a red penalty area, they're thinking, well, all I get is the 2 club lengths. Well,
Right.
if you use the back on the line relief, and this is just one example, if you have a favorite club and you hit your gap wedge 85 yards every time, you could use that back on the line relief to drop it right at 85 yards, and you've got yourself the best shot that you feel comfortable with. So I'm just thinking, don't always think of the rules to penalize. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I use that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anything from Gabe when I go play in Arizona, because he's like, you're 110 out. No, I'm going to 150 because my
Right.
7-iron 150 is smooth as butter. Like, we're going with that
That's
one.
it. Like butter. I like it.
And the only problem, Chris, is you usually have about 8 or 9 of those around, so that's what causes the problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Roger, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you for taking some time. We
Absolutely.
can't wait to see what comes throughout the year. And like I said, everybody loves it when you're on. So you better keep your material fresh, because they're listening and they
I
love it.
appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I love doing this, and I appreciate your support with this as well. Thank you.
All
Thanks,
right,
Roger.
brother. Well, good luck this year, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Bye-bye.
Let's take a break from the show to hear about Strixon's ZX Mark II irons.
A great iron set needs more than good looks. It's gotta be fast and gotta be pure. But good looks never hurt either. The all-new ZX Mark II irons from Strixon.
Gabe, like I told Roger, it was crazy. It's been a crazy experience to have people come up to you at like regionals and nationals and say, hey, you're the podcast guy. But it is kind of sad when you say, hey, you're the podcast guy, but I really love the rules segment you guys have. And it's like, wow, people really love the rules of golf. It's okay. But it's great to have him on, because the guy's a smart guy, especially when it comes to golf.
Yeah, no, and the players really want they want to learn the game. And when we first started the El Paso tour, I think you were around already at that point, but we actually did a couple of rules seminars before our very first event.
Yeah.
And it's actually something that I wish we would take the time as directors to try to put together more often, particularly for new members. Use it as a recruiting tool, as you're holding a little seminar with a rules guy going over different things, so that players are comfortable asking questions during the rounds when they first get started. Because
Right.
jumping from playing with your buddies to competitive rounds of golf is a big change, and there's already a level of discomfort with that. So the more comfortable we can make players as quickly as possible, I think it's better for them.
For sure. And I mean, there's so many rules. I think besides Roger, I don't think anybody else will memorize all the rules, not even the tour players,
Right.
unless they're trying to weasel their way out of getting a
Well,
free drop or something.
There's a handful that think they know a little bit more than maybe they do.
Right. But it doesn't hurt to have the app on your device now. I know
no, not at
Gina,
all.
when I went to her regional, she had stacks of the rules book that
Mhm.
she gives to her members. Anybody who wants one, she'll give them a rules book. And I think that's, it's a tool that we can use to, like you said, grow the game, because that's what we're here for, to help grow the game.
For sure.
In a competitive standpoint. It's not a charity event. It's not, we're going out there and playing with our friends. Like, it is competitive, and we all go out there to try and win, but at the end of the day, we want to grow the game.
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, it's great to have him on. There's some of those rules I should have probably enforced at the Ryder Cup, but that's neither here nor there. Um,
You host a Ryder Cup?
yeah, I know you have it right there, dude. I know. We talked about it.
This
There it
thing?
is. I'm glad you even put the score on there yet, though. I appreciate that.
I didn't have enough ink because there's some big numbers.
Last episode, Tim had to bring that up, and he asked how it went, and
Did you change the subject really quickly?
I tried to. I really did, but it's just fun, dude. It's
Yeah.
fun, and I wish we could do it once a month because that's how much fun it is. But
For sure.
I want to throw you under the bus real quick because
Okay.
we had this conversation, and then out of the blue, I'm gonna say my cart was amazing. It was great on day one when the sun was going down because apparently people were following me with the lights on. I didn't even know.
Yeah, they were.
But then you start sending me pictures of the belt randomly, and that's what team competition's all about because I myself, when I go visit you guys, wear it proudly like a WWE
Absolutely.
wrestler.
Uh-huh.
And now I got to pay my dues, and I'm not looking forward to it.
It's got a name. It's the year-long Chris Rocha torture tour. So any event, every post that we do, look in the corners of the pictures that you see, and you're probably going to see the belt floating
no.
around. So
That's you challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. But tell me, after this episode drops, you've already had your first event at Sawalo. It's a great time. I know, we have Daniel Wigg and Jordan Isaac that are kind of taking the reins now. But how do you feel this season's looking for you? Any exciting events that you have on the schedule that you kind of want to promote? Now's your time, my friend.
yeah, so for us, the thing for us that we've focused on or has been a big point for us for years now. I think we're going on 4 or 5 years in a row now where we've been the lead and we want to keep it, and that's the fundraising for the V Foundation.
Right.
Ironically, we had to make a change in the date of our first event of the season, and I don't know if it was one of those fate, kismet, whatever term you prefer to use, but all of our fundraising, we make donations in the name of 2 former members, Roger Temietti and Sean Downs, who we lost at the day before our kickoff event last year.
Right.
And ironically, because of the date change that was required, it wasn't something that we planned. It was just a scheduling conflict that caused us to move our start date, back a day to the 19th. It was actually the 1-year anniversary of Sean's passing. And so, the focus for us, while we have some great events like our dual tour event that you and I do
Right.
together in Tubac, which is one of our big fundraising events, as well as the regional and a couple of new major championships that we have. One in Sedona stands out. For us, the fundraising is where it's at for us. And so, we use the anniversary as a launching point for our fundraising for this year. And, we're going to challenge anyone and everyone that's listening to join us and trying to make as much of an impact as the Golfweek Amateur Tour as a whole can make. Not just this year, but every year moving forward.
Right.
We'll be sharing some stuff, and we hope that, other tours will join us in what we do. But for us, while we have some great events, the fundraising for us is the big thing. So
Yeah, definitely. And you do a great job. It's shown year after year.
thank you.
But I mean, it's just, one of my favorite events, aside from my schedule, okay, any of my listeners listening, aside from our schedule, is our Tubac event. One, because, it is the middle of the season, right? Some of the guys may have not seen their Arizona friends since the Ryder Cup. So
Absolutely.
it's a great time to get together, and you're at a resort where there's literally nothing to do but hang out.
Yeah.
After the round, you're either hanging out on the patio or you're walking your dog and you see, X, Y, and Z on the patio, and hey, come for a beer or a drink, or Hector's got his tequila bottle somewhere.
Whether he's supposed to or not.
Whether you're supposed to or not.
Yeah.
It's a great time, and
For sure.
anybody that's looking to play a major outside of their tour, that'd be one I definitely recommend.
Well,
But then
the history of it too, they filmed Tin Cup there,
right,
and of course the resort takes outstanding care of us. And one of the things that you see at this event, that you don't see, I think for the most part, is it's a real family environment. After the rounds are done, or when dinner's done, or whatever it may be, you've got kids running around, playing around where the cows are, and
right,
dogs and all of that good stuff. I mean, it the vibe in that place is different than anything else that we do all season long. The competition is fierce. We've had playoffs the last handful of years, and
mm-hmm,
70, 80, 100 players at that event every year. um, but the reality of it is that that's really a time to decompress. It's a weekend where everybody seems to decompress, kind of rejuvenate, and get ready for the final stretch of the season as we get ready for the season finales and national championships and all that good
for
stuff.
sure. I mean, and then you have TPC right around the corner, which is still one of the bigger events, bigger regionals in the country, and I mean, you put a top-notch show.
Appreciate
I
that.
mean,
Well,
you guys run it like crazy, and I mean, I know I help a little bit with scoring, but
yeah,
that has nothing to do with the background stuff that you guys have to do, and the fundraiser that you do there. I mean,
yeah.
it's one of a kind.
But we have great partners. You're one of them, and your entire crew and all of the group that you bring with us, to us. But again, when the focus is on um, trying to put ourselves in a position where we're helping as much as we possibly can, it's amazing that how well our groups come together to reach goals that we have set, and we've set more goals this year, and we hope to meet them. But anybody that comes around, anybody comes to our tours, um, they're excited to help. They love what we do, and they jump in and help out as much as they possibly can. And I think that's what our entire national tour is all about.
Right, definitely. Lastly, you just came back from the Vegas regional.
I
Uh,
did.
did see your scores, and you know,
I
but
was on.
everybody's score was
What
high.
happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
With 50-mile-an-hour winds, yeah, it should stay in Vegas from what I hear. But I want to ask you because I know you understand. What was worse, that one or my Red Hawk event a couple years
Oh, it
back?
wasn't even close. Red Hawk. I mean, anybody that's ever played with me knows that I hit a pretty good draw, especially off the tee. And when you're aiming for as a left-hander, when you're aiming for the right side of the fairway and trying to hit a big hook, and it's still getting pushed all the way across the left side of the fairway, nothing compares to that. It was cold. The wind was blowing 40 or 50 miles an hour constantly with gusts bigger than that. What we had in Vegas this past weekend, I will take every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
I mean, but it was close competition
It was
all the way to the end in all
uh,
the flights.
we're gluttons for punishment, but I remember that event vividly, and it was a blast.
Yeah, it was. I was watching from home, and man, it was nail biting the last 4 holes, and then I know B Flight went into a 3-player playoff.
Yep.
One of my guys had a chance to win, and we could have gone two out of the 3.
Yep.
But I think he lost on the second hole or something, and then we got our C Flighter to win, which is awesome.
Yep.
Um,
Arizona took a
but
couple home as well. So yeah, no, but great competition, great camaraderie. Good. We did some fundraising there as well for the V Foundation. That turned out well. All in all, great weekend
it's a great way to kick off the season
for sure.
for us West Coasters, because I mean it would be nice to go and play Harbor Town, but that's too cold for me. That's way too cold. Well, but I appreciate you being my co-host this episode. We'll definitely have to make it, or do it again
Yeah.
sometime this season because
No,
it
thanks for the
it was
invite.
a
It
lot of
was
fun.
a great time for sure.
Next time you don't have to shave, okay? I can tell you it's a fresh shave on there, but you don't have to do that.
Well, just on the sides here. This is a little stubby here, but yeah,
Is it
got to
is it
clean
the
it up.
gray hair or what?
There's more than a couple of gray hairs in there.
Well, but I can't wait to go out there and see you. But good luck this season, and keep that belt warm because it's coming back to daddy pretty soon.
Looking forward to it.
All right, brother.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, my friend.
Likewise.
All right, that's a wrap for this week's episode. But Chris, after all this time, you would think we would remember this stuff.
We forgot to tell people how to register, didn't we?
Yep, take it away.
Well, if you're not already part of the Golfweek Amateur Tour, what are you waiting for? Grab your clubs, join the fun, and see what competitive golf is all about. You can sign up today and start meeting some incredible folks who love the game as much as you do.
All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click the Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership dues.
And hey, don't forget, if you're enjoying the podcast, you can catch us on all of the major podcast platforms. Be sure to download, share it with your golf buddies, and throw us a quick review if you're feeling the love. It helps us keep bringing you the good stuff and reaching even more golfers out there. Thanks for hanging with us, and until next time, keep swinging and having fun out there.
We'll see you next time. Take care.